Globalicemos. Globalicemos. La esperanza. La esperanza.
Right.
La esperanza. La esperanza.
Good. All right.
Okay, and what are like a few of the big ones, the big recommendations the Rethinkers had?
They wanted some of them I thought were really great. Well, they wanted vegetarian options every day. They wanted fresh fruits and vegetables every day, and they wanted local fare like red beans and rice, things that are part of their culture every day in the menu. So not just potatoes, not just French fries.
In all schools or just public schools?
In their school district in New Orleans. So they wanted food that was local, they wanted fresh, they wanted vegetarian options. But they had
Who are these Rethinkers? Are they kids or are they?
They're kids that got together and said, we don't like what we eat. And in fact, one of the young women, she said, because they were asking, well, how do you get this to happen in your school? And she said, the one thing that just about everybody agrees on, teachers, students, everybody, is the food in the cafeteria sucks. So as long as you start there, everybody's on your page, you know. And she said, then that's where you go. So that was a really brilliant moment. Where she said, you know, that's a place where you can all meet because everybody thinks that. There ain't anybody out there who goes, this food is awesome, you know. So I thought that was great.
So you mentioned 3 techniques, ways that they could do it. Are there any more practical applications?
They had 12. A list of 12 things they wanted. I don't remember all 12. They've got a pamphlet in there that describes their 12 things.
And could you tell the passion in their voice?
Oh yeah. And they clearly understood what they were saying. You know, it wasn't just like something someone had helped them write. They were like, you know, they wanted a sink in the cafeteria with soap every day so they could wash their hands before and after they eat. They thought that was like a really basic dignity sort of issue. And you can't, you know, the nearest bathroom is way down the other end. So, you know, that was, I thought, great. They wanted to get rid of the spork. You know, there's no more sporks. They wanted metal, forks, spoons, and knives, which was awesome. They wanted local fish and shrimp, and you know, because it's Louisiana, they got tons of farmers down there and shrimpers and fishermen. So that was one of their other big things. I can't think of the rest of them. There's 12 of them. They were all really
were these elementary kids or what?
Now these were all. Well, one was in 8th grade. The rest were in high school. So.
And when did they start this?
Well, after Katrina. So after Katrina, when they started rebuilding schools, these kids said, if you're going to rebuild the schools, don't rebuild them like you had them before because they suck. And here's how we want them different. And they started the club so they could make recommendations to say to the superintendent, if you're rebuilding our schools, this is what they should look like.
So when you're rebuilding schools, that's the time, which is once every 100 years, which is...
Yeah, didn't happen very much. So, but in New Orleans, they were rebuilding schools. And so they had another recommendation is that there's a garden that's part of every cafeteria plan is a garden that the students run.
For herbs or?
Herbs, vegetables, the kids get to decide what they put in it and what they grow in it. And then that becomes part of the cafeteria menu when it's harvested.
You know, as much as bad things happen when, you know, like the dam breaks, we ought to do that all over the place.
Oh, the school my daughter goes to, it's pathetic how bad that is. And the food that they serve is not edible. I mean, and most of it ends up in the garbage because the kids are like, you know, so... And when you go and talk to the cafeteria people, and they talked about this is one of the things that they were talking about. Cafeteria people aren't cooks. They know how to open a can, stick it in a warmer. That's what they, you know, and so then you tell them, no, we want fresh fruits and vegetables. We want things that you prepared. They don't even know where to start with that, you know. How do you make bread? We don't know, you know. How are we going to do that? So, which is a huge problem. See, when I was a kid, the cafeteria lady was a cook. And she made the rolls by hand, you know, and she made like meatloaf by hand, you know, and so today, if it's not already pre-cooked, they don't know what to do with it. You know, if it's anything.
I don't know if you went to the Sierra Club meeting last Tuesday, but they had the head of the Jefferson County, the director of the whole food thing was there. They have a centralized facility, and they're trying to do a lot more, and it's hard work because people, the training and the facilities. But, you know, if people say, go for it, then it'll happen, I think.
Well, and one of the other things they talked about, and I don't know who does it in Louisville, they said they had Sodexo was their supplier, that was the New Orleans supplier. So they got the superintendent to fire Sodexo, and they got a new one, Earmark or somebody, and the Earmark came in and they said, we're hiring you because you told us you will make sure we have lots of local fruits and vegetables and you will supply us with food we can cook. And so, and Earmark's been, according to them, been really great. So that's one thing, like where my daughter goes, when I talk to the people that prepare that, I said, this is what they said this. And it very much is, I'm a passive part in this. It's not really my job. My job is to stick it in the warmer. And so at that level, that's if you've got a supplier who's actually willing to go out and buy local foods and is willing to buy and send you fresh fruits and vegetables, I mean, that's a key, a really basic thing, you know. So
that's going to take off. I mean, instead of kids playing Nintendo all day long, they can get fired up about something.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, and that's what several people. It was kind of sad, I thought, really, because several people, their questions were, well, you know, that was great in New Orleans. I have no idea how we do that here. You know, I mean, so there are people that had, like, really realistic, how in the world could we possibly even think about doing that here? You know, so, and I feel their frustration, having gone into my daughter's school. I set up a recycling program for juice pouches, just for juice pouches, at my daughter's school. And I got fought every step of the way. And I'd go in there about once a week, and they hid the garbage cans, right? Because they didn't like it. It was in their way. It wasn't part of their system, and they didn't know what to do with it, and they weren't in charge of it. And it smells, or you know, there's flies. Okay, well, we can empty it more often. We can put a garbage can outside, and we can empty it into it every day. I mean, I fought it for 6 months before they finally, eventually, it's a fixture. It's there. They get used to it. But I mean, it was every week I came in there and there was something new they were trying to do to keep me from doing it for 6 months. So.
Well, we need champions like you. Is what we need. That's what networking is all about. Is cross fertilization.
And the whole time, the principal's going, "Yeah, we're completely on board. We're totally supporting."
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So
look for the easy button. You got to make it for yourself. I was just.